let's dive right into today's explainer. We've got a really exciting goal here. We're going to figure out exactly how to build a massively successful, super engaging educational programming channel and do it without hitting that dreaded creator burnout. Because let's be real, if you've ever thought about sharing your tech knowledge, you already know it's not just about turning on your webcam and talking. You need a blueprint. You got to know how to structure your ideas, how to show them visually, and crucially, how to optimize your workflow so teaching actually stays fun, not a total chore.
So that brings us to the ultimate question. Why is it that some coding channels just explode to millions of views, while others, well, they literally put you to sleep in 2 minutes? It's kind of crazy, right? But the secret isn't about knowing the most obscure languages or having some massive Hollywood production budget. No, it's actually about hitting this perfect balance of solid pedagogy, a completely frictionless recording setup, and an on-screen performance that just hooks the viewer. And we're going to unpack exactly how the top creators pull this off.
Okay, case in point. Look at this incredibly dense handwritten note on blockchain. This is exactly what we want to avoid. I mean, the information might be 100% accurate, but hitting your audience with a giant wall of cramped, unstructured text, that is literally the fastest way to lose them. It triggers instant cognitive overload. Our brains just short-circuit trying to process that much dense visual data all at once. The real goal of a great tech explainer is to take all that heavy, complex stuff and transform it into something clean, sequential, and super digestible.
To get there, here's our roadmap for this explainer. 1. Mastering tech pedagogy. 2. Choosing your content style. 3. The frictionless studio setup. 4. The on-screen performance. And finally, number 5. Editing and the algorithm. Let's get into it.
Starting with Section 1, Mastering Tech Pedagogy, or the actual science of teaching.
Look, before you even think about opening a code editor, you have to understand how people actually learn. We're going to use the 9th rung of our LogicLadder Roadmap to really lock this in: teaching, stacks, and cues. You don't just toss a massive computer science textbook at your viewer. You break it down into micro-concepts. You start with a hook, like, hey, when you make a typo and hit undo, Ctrl+Z, how does the computer actually know your exact last action? Well, it uses a stack. You teach the stack as a LIFO model, last in, first out. Think of it like a giant pile of plates. You can only add or push a plate to the very top, and you can only take or pop a plate from the top. Then you introduce the queue. That's a FIFO model, first in, first out. It's exactly like waiting in line at a coffee shop. You NQ at the back of the line and you DQ at the front. By presenting just one of these logical subconcepts at a time, you completely bypass cognitive overload and build real, solid understanding.
Moving right along to Section 2, Choosing Your Content Style. This is all about finding your specific niche and voice.
If you spend any time looking across software channels, you'll notice they basically fall into 4 distinct buckets. First up, you've got the tutorial style. These are super practical, career-boosting guides, like exactly what you'd use for our undo button stack example. Second is the informational style, which leans more into soft skills, dev tools, and career advice. Third, we have live coding. This is where viewers just hang out and watch your raw, real-time problem-solving process. It's absolutely fantastic for building a tight-knit community. And finally, software entertainment. This is where creators build wild stuff, like AI games or robots, to pull in a massive, mainstream audience.
Now, the reason we bring these up is captured perfectly by this quote from Derek Sivers. It's crucial to know why you're doing what you're doing. Whatever your channel's ultimate goal is, that needs to dictate your style. Are you trying to land a job as a senior engineer? Are you selling an advanced course? Or are you just chasing maximum ad revenue with viral hits? Because if your goal is, say, showing off your foundational coding chops to get hired, a clear visual tutorial style is exactly the tool for the job. You got to know your why before you settle on your what.
All right, Section 3, the frictionless studio setup, the actual mechanics of getting this all recorded. Before you hit that record button, take a hard look at your physical space. There's a brilliant tip from RealPython that points out a completely silent room isn't actually enough for good audio. Seriously. Big rooms, bare walls, windows, they create these awful echoes that bounce straight into your mic, and they are an absolute nightmare to edit out later. You've got to dampen the sound. Absorb those echoes. And you can do it with normal household stuff. Throw down a thick carpet, close the curtains, or just sit in front of a bookcase stuffed with different-sized books. Having great audio is totally non-negotiable. If you sound like you're broadcasting from inside a tin can, people will click away before they even see a single line of your code.
Once your room sounds pristine, you need a recording workflow that actually saves you time. This frictionless setup from a dev community author is literally a game changer. Step 1. Fire up your screen recorder, like OBS. Step 2, while you're recording, use a system-level tool like Turing Shot. You just hit Ctrl+X and boom, you're zooming and drawing live on your screen. Imagine teaching those data structures we just talked about. You can draw a vertical box right over your editor to show a stack, or a horizontal tunnel to show a queue's data flow, all in real time. Step 3, run that raw file through something like Filmora. You use its auto-silence removal feature to just instantly strip out all the dead air where you were thinking or typing. And Step 4, export. Just like that, you've saved yourself hours of grueling manual timeline slicing.
And while you're setting up your screen for that workflow, let's hit some rapid-fire visual rules. First, enlarge your font. Seriously, make it huge. Second, hide your taskbar. Get rid of the system clock, the start menu, the macOS dock, all of it. They are distracting and add zero educational value. And back to that font size. Say we're implementing our stack using the C++ standard template library, right? We type out standard stack, angle bracket, standard string. We need that text to be massive. You can even use Turing Shot's Ctrl+A shortcut to zoom right in tight on that string part, so you can explain exactly what type of cargo this stack is going to carry. Keep in mind, up to a third of your viewers are watching on their phones. If they can't read your code, they can't learn from you.
Okay, Section 4, the on-screen performance. How to actually keep your viewers locked in.
Because having a sweet setup is only half the battle, right? How you deliver the goods when the red light is on makes or breaks the explainer. To keep everyone tracking with you, follow these rules. First, describe your on-screen actions out loud. Some folks are just listening in the background, or they might have visual impairments, so narrate what you're typing. Second, do not switch tabs at the speed of light. It's incredibly disorienting. Use your mouse to open menus instead of just firing off lightning-fast keyboard shortcuts that nobody can follow. And third, leave your code on the screen long enough for it to sink in. Let's say you want to teach a growth mindset. A great way to do that is to trigger an intentional error. Try to pop an item from a completely empty stack and literally let the program crash right there on screen. But here's the trick. Leave that crash code up. Give them a few seconds to stare at it. Then, explain that a pro developer always checks if the stack is not empty before trying to grab an item. It is a fantastic lesson in debugging high-performance systems, but you absolutely must give the viewer time to digest the mistake and the fix.
Finally, Section 5, editing and the algorithm, making peace with the whole process. I am obsessed with the mindset in this quote. The best edit is the one you never have to make. By leaning on system-level tools for your live drawing, your zooms, and that automatic silence removal, you keep your energy exactly where it should be, on creating, coding, and teaching. You are trying to be an awesome educator, not an exhausted, burnt-out video editor. And here's the beautiful part. When you keep your workflow this frictionless, the algorithm is going to reward your consistency. Why? Because you'll actually have the stamina to keep putting out high-quality explainers week after week. So that leaves us with one final, pretty exciting question. What complex topic are you going to break down first? Are you going to take this blueprint and explain the inner workings of that undo button with stacks? Or maybe you're going to tackle something even wilder, like async operations or blockchain ledgers. Take these tools, design some clean slides, get your room sounding perfect, and start building those captivating tech explainers. The community is out there and they are waiting to learn from your totally unique perspective. Catch you next time.